Hey, fellow artists, welcome to the 7th Psycheopera Creators Live, where I showcase fellow builders of musical instruments and their work, whether it's rustic cigar box guitars, traditional flutes, trash bin percussion, synthesizers, software instruments, DIY MIDI controllers, or classic guitars made by master luthiers. If it's made by humans in a workshop and not by machines in a factory, then I want to talk about it. So, folks, today's special guest is Liesl, custom luthier extraordinaire, who has built a wide array of acoustic and electroacoustic diddley bows, cigar box guitars, canjos, cigar box basses, and more. I love watching Liesl's channel because of her beautiful and innovative CBGs, her entertaining historical tours showcasing some of the UK's most stunning architecture and natural scenes, and I absolutely love her humor. Oh my gosh. And by the end of this show, you're all going to want to hit that subscribe button on our channel, which, by the way, is linked in the video description box of this live. Go do it now because you're going to go and do it anyways later. And so, without any further ado, let's take a look at some of Liesl's work. And so here I'm going to cue her special montage. Here we go.
Quite a beauty and a bit of a beast. But I'm glad I kept with it, and I'm glad I went with plan B, or no, it was plan C really. Because for the saddle, I used a flip-flop hinge, the sort of thing that you do find in a writing desk, cabinet, or bureau, that sort of thing. And I think you'll agree if you look up the neck, she looks quite a beauty. Flip her over onto the back. I left the rough looking screw heads. I thought it added to the sort of style of the guitar, and if you want to see The grain on the back of the neck, there it is, with our fancy colourings. Some pretty standard pegs that I'd knocking around for quite a while. They're quite nice ones. So here it is on the surface. Here is the little gitty sofa. As you can see, the resonator's in place. And just to give you an idea, there's the headstock. Now you could see that I had a couple of goes on positioning the machine heads. And there it is. I'll run us through this. As you can see, there is a triple piezo, which I've mounted one behind the resonator, one in the side, and there's another one that's I've not quite decided where to put it yet. It'll probably go in the corner of the resonator, I would have thought. And I will bury those nicely with epoxy resin. Yeah, just so that we don't have too bright a sound. Although this one I do hope will be quite twangly and jangly. Not sure yet. There are a couple of reasons for that actually, not only because it's Halloween, but also I was very curious as to how it would sound, whether the shape would make any difference, the size of the box, and basically how I would go about it as well. Now, I did not have a decent mitre for cutting angles, so I would not have had a hope really in getting such a nice coffin shape. So I did buy the box from the Works, if you're in the UK, which is a bit of a hobby craft kind of centre, if you like. Yeah, relatively inexpensive. And yes, I did pop along there where I did find these coffin boxes. Hello peeps, Liesl here. Yeah, and I just wanted to quickly show you this one. It's my latest build. It's electric diddley bow 1 string. As you can see, I've used a 3-stringer pickup for this one, which I put in lengthways, so basically it will just pick up on 1 string. This is one of the oldest boxes that I own actually. I got this in my first consignment, and it's a My Father cigar box. If you look on the back is actually the front of the cigar box. And it's got this lovely shape into it, as per usual. It's just a mop handle, which I basically stained with the usual tea and cheap coffee. The sort of cheap coffee you get from Poundland or dollar store, whatever. You wouldn't drink it, but it makes excellent stain. As for the tea, you want to use an expensive brand, something like Taylor's or Twinings. You just seem to get a better result. Anyway, I'm waffling on. You see the saddle piece and the tail piece, that's the ends knocked out of 2 rivets. If I spin her over, you can see it's the same on the front. That basically just stops the string pulling through. I've only just strung this guitar. I've no idea what she's tuned to because I've just kind of tuned her up a little bit and I'm waiting for the strings to stretch. But there she is, absolutely lovely. And there's that way around.
All right, Liesl, welcome to the show, Liesl. Thank you so much for being
Hi.
here.
It's a pleasure to be here. Absolutely, my pleasure. And thanks for inviting me as well.
So we got some fans of yours in the audience. We have Busker
Okay.
909. Welcome, Busker. And
Hey, Pastor.
and Webb from the Electric Cigar Box is now a new sub of yours. So cool beans. Thank you so much, Webb.
Much obliged. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, welcome aboard. Thank you.
Alrighty, folks. So, um, Lisa, let's start with your CBG journey. How did you get into building cigar box guitars?
But that's quite an interesting point, actually. It was down to a guitarist named Justin Johnson. He was playing a cover version of Ace of Spades by Motorhead. I saw Motorhead live when I was young, about 16. And he was playing it on a guitar that he made himself out of a shovel. And I thought, I've just got to check this guy out. So I followed him onto his channel. And the next thing I saw was a workshop on how to make a diddley bow. And now, as soon as I saw the diddley bow, that was it. I was absolutely smitten with it. 2 or 3 days later, I'd built one. And the rest, as they say, is history. So, yeah, it was down to the diddley bow mainly, although I did start building 1 or 2 3 stringers pretty soon after that. Yeah.
Very cool. One thing, one unique aspect of your building approach is your choice of wood finishes. Um, I think I ran into this early on when I discovered your channel. You chose to go the DIY non-toxic wood stain route for some of your builds rather than use, the traditional hardware store stains and polyurethanes. Can you tell us what inspired that decision
Yeah,
and what
absolutely.
benefits you found in using those alternative finishes like the coffee stain and the tea stain? Tell us more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. When I first started building them, I wanted to sort of give them a kind of old-fashioned look or a seasoned look, quite a well-weathered look. But due to what's available here, I was quite often working in sort of Scandinavian pine or strip pine, which is very pale wood. Sometimes using oak, but that can be quite expensive. The main reason, actually, I've never been a fan of artificial chemicals, to colour wood and to stain wood, as I've made things from wood for years, even before I started building guitars. Also, I react to so many things, like even boiled linseed.
Wow.
See, I react to that, which is a fairly natural thing, but and these videos, a lot of it was the algorithm. I was sort of looking at how to build guitars, and one guy, he came through with all these natural stains that he made. It was the same. He lived on a homestead somewhere, I think, and kind of just improvised everything. But I soon realised that they do actually enhance what the wood naturally has. Whereas I think with commercial stains also, they can kind of mask a lot of the beauty, some of the imperfections. They looked too factory built would be the short answer. So yeah, I soon got into developing some wood stains of my own and using things that have been used around the world, for like centuries, like turmeric, that stains
Wow.
everything a bright yellow and it does not wash out of anything. Yeah. So I experimented, with different wood finishes and I've been around guys that did French polishing and proper wood finishes as well over the years. So as I've been saying, we learn from each other and we learn along the way. And there it is, really.
Out of curiosity, have you ever done wood staining with berries? Does that work? Do you know?
Yeah, certain berries do work quite well. Blackberries work fairly well, and cherry does quite a nice I've often found that with certain woods, they have natural tones that really come through. There's actually like a lot of amber and a lot of pinks, even some quite bluish tones that will come through. And it's just sort of discovering the things that make that happen, really. I use tea a lot, as you know. It's the tannins in the tea. If
Right.
the grain hasn't got a very deep grain pattern, then it will actually, it kind of touches the grain, it brings the grain out, and then you can work with other colours and get kind of two different tones going on. It's quite amazing when you get into it, really.
That is fascinating, and I'm looking forward to watching your natural staining tutorials. My husband and I are lucky enough
Oh,
to
thanks.
be on a homestead where this bush called pokeberry or pokeweed grows wild, and it has these huge magenta berries on them that historically have been used to make inks. We also have beauty berries on the
Wow.
property that also
Yeah,
stain a magenta color. I've I've never tried making wood stain with them before, but I'm gonna watch your tutorials, and I'm gonna see if I can actually, you know, make my own
okay.
stain, because I like what you're doing, you know, um, using natural products, using what you can find, um, you know, upcycling things,
Yeah,
and not using harsh chemicals. I really like that approach of yours. So,
thanks.
well,
I did this one, see. There's an example. That's just tea, coffee, and coconut
nice.
oil.
Coconut oil. Okay. So does the
It was,
coconut oil give it
yeah, it was pale like that to begin
okay.
with.
Very cool.
Yeah, the coconut oil, it nourishes the wood, because a lot of commercial wood is heavily sort of kiln dried these days.
Yeah.
It strips all the moisture out. So it does help to put the moisture back. It also is a really good carrier oil. So say if you were mixing berry juice or even artist's ink, you could put it in the coconut oil and mix it up. And yeah, it just kind of helps it to embed into the wood. But yeah, there's quite a few different tones on there, and that's literally just tea, coffee, and coconut on them.
Wow.
Nothing fancy at all, you know.
Very nice. And does it also give it a shimmer, the coconut oil? I can't tell because of the camera, but
Yeah, and it does. Yeah, this one's quite dull because it's only had about one sort of layer. But the
okay.
more you apply it, yeah. And I don't know if you said Kabuki Theatre was in the audience. If you heard
Yes.
Kabuki, baby oil as well, so mineral oil, yeah, that really makes a nice finish on the fingerboard. And if you
Nice.
go with very fine sandpaper, so something like 2,500 grit, yeah, you just get a glass finish. There's no need to varnish or anything like that, just straight on. Carnauba wax is another good one.
Okay.
That's in clear shoe polish, so you can use that and it's a lot cheaper. Yeah.
Very cool. Things to try. I can't wait. Oh, there's Kabuki Theater. Gave you a thumbs up there. And so, I wanted
Thanks,
to
Cookie. I see you don't for each other.
I wanted to pick your brain about something I saw in one of your videos. So in one of your videos, you mentioned the historical significance of cigar box fiddles in Ireland during World War One and World War Two. Can you tell us a little bit more about that fascinating bit of history and
Yeah,
what the cigar box guitar scene is like in the
yes,
UK at
certainly.
the moment?
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, as for the historical part, I used to work with a guy actually who was an expert on World War One. I think originally his family came from Ireland. But I discovered that like one-string fiddles were very popular. Um, excuse me, and in the British Isles because not so much cigar box guitars. You know, I'd never heard of a cigar box guitar until a few years ago. Obviously, more well known in the southern states, I would say, especially in America. But one-string fiddles were a big thing, and I never knew that, you know. And there were quite a few examples of these. This guy, he showed me a lot of trench art. There were kind of like very diddly bow type instruments, and with, you know, all the nations that were in conflict at the time. So there are Belgian, you know, soldiers with them, German soldiers, British, American, you know, you name it. They all had this kind of trench art, and also other instruments. You know, we had flute wizard with the ocarina, but they made instruments very much akin to those as well. You know, and little trinket boxes and everything. Things made out of shell cases. It's quite a fascinating history. Wow. There's a certain amount on YouTube. If you cross-reference it, you'll find it.
Okay.
As in the UK, yeah. Again, as with a lot of rock music in the UK, I think the West Midlands is the place. Many of us will know Chicken Bone John. He's from Birmingham, England. So that's Birmingham in the West Midlands there. There's quite a scene there. There is an annual festival, like Cigar Box Guitar Festival. I think it's every February or so. It featured on BBC TV one time, actually, a few years ago, which is why I think there was a bit of an upsurge in popularity for a small time at least, yeah. It does remain a slightly niche here, but I think, well, I'm trying to spread the word of cigar box guitars as much as I can anyway. And I'm sure there are other people doing the same here in the UK. Absolutely.
Well, very cool. And so you recently made the move to Wales from a more urban setting. How has country life impacted your creativity as a luthier? And have you discovered any new opportunities to showcase CBGs in Wales?
I'm working on that, and I certainly am, yeah. It definitely is the place, especially up in North Wales, purely because there are a lot more festivals up here and that sort of thing, music festivals, a lot more kind of diverse kind of music festivals and stuff like that.
Nice.
It's where the Maharishi came, the Beatles actually is up here, so you know there's the sort of backdrop. Again, it's a place where you'll see a lot more homespun, handcrafted instruments made, played, you know, some quite inventive busking going on. Yeah, and I think it has, you know, getting hold of materials for these is a lot easier. It's a slower pace and there's less of that manic kind of, in a big city, which was a modern city, just about 50 miles outside of central London. So, yeah, quite a difference really coming up here, which is very rural and fairly remote, I must say.
Cool. I love that, by the way.
Thank you. Yes, indeed. Yeah.
So in one of your videos after the move to Wales, you've shared that you've met people in Wales who introduced you to something called a stump stick, and you're planning to build one. For those of us who aren't familiar, which is probably all of us, what exactly is a stump stick, and what kind of music is typically played on it?
Yeah, a stump stick. Perhaps more in UK English would be a stomp stick. I think a stump is a German word for stomp.
Oh.
Basically, what it is, it's like a long stick with all kinds of all whistles and bells, you know, attached to it, all singing, all dancing, and definitely the kind of instrument you would see with the traditional one-man band, which I would say throughout the British Isles, really, especially on the East Coast and then on the West Coast, you would have seen these people back in the day. I think you still do with modern buskers. I mean, one guy that springs to mind is a guy called Cam Cole. So that's C-A-M and then C-O-L-E. Excuse me, he plays in and around London. If you see Jazzy Smith as well from Australia, you know, he's invented a lot of these sort of devices to make more didgeridoo sounds or like to enhance a harmonica sound. I think that's the modern face of the one-man band. It was the point I was leading up to anyway. But yeah, you know, I don't know if that's typically British or not, but this is something you would have seen in one form or another, especially like in some of the areas. I did find one famous one-man band from Wales. I couldn't find a lot on him other than photographs, really. And I think his name was, I think it was Arthur Griffiths. He was around in the 1950s. He might have achieved some kind of fame, but again, he had a very long woodwind instrument with some kind of attachment on the end. And I think he was probably known for this. I would have loved to have known what sort of sound he got from this instrument, you know, or how he entertained the public with it. But like I say, very little I could find really on researching that subject. You know.
Well, we look forward to seeing your build and introducing us all to this
Thanks, yeah.
instrument through the channel, through your channel. So I'm gonna bring on
That's
Lawrence.
part of it anyway. This is going to be the top part.
Oh, there we go. We got a preview. Awesome. Cool beans.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, that's the top part. The rest I'll keep you in suspense. Okay,
Oh, so
it's going to be quite a grandee looking one, I think.
cool beans. I can't wait. So I've queued on Lawrence. He's gonna pick your brain.
Well,
Okay, far away.
well, I don't know that that's my job, but I was curious. How popular are cigar box guitars in the UK?
I think they're more popular than you might imagine. Wherever there is like a sort of music pub venue, especially in the sort of blues kind of crowd, yeah, and the more blues rock sort of crowd, you'll find quite a few cigar box guitar fans. So it's on the rise. Most people are still, what the heck is that, when they see a diddley bow, for instance. And they always say, oh, it's only got one string, you know, obviously. But yeah, I think these things are becoming much more well known, especially thanks to Chicken Bone John, you know, and yeah, all the sort of influence he's put our way, should I say. Sorry, getting tired, sorry.
So, am I correct in saying that you create CBGs and diddley bows? Are there any other instruments that you make?
Yeah. Yeah, I made a stomp box before now. I have one or two diddly bows with me. Here's one that I made just out of necessity. It's a really basic diddly bow. And I made it when I moved up here. But it's got quite a sound. It's down tuned. I can get it on camera. But, so very basic, everything from that really to and here we have Paco.